What if what you've been waiting for has already happened? What if the quantum leap you've been chasing with so much faith isn't some future event, but a state that's already active, quietly alive within you? Most people think the breakthrough moment comes with noise, signs, applause, but the truest spiritual awakenings are almost always silent, and only those who are tuned in can actually feel them. Maybe that's why you're here right now. Maybe this video didn't show up randomly, because in quantum spirituality, nothing is random. Your consciousness is ready for a revelation that your rational mind is still trying to understand. You'll realize that the signs from the universe don't always look like signs. Sometimes they disguise themselves as pauses, as loss, as uncomfortable silence. But in each one of those pauses, there's an invisible confirmation. You've already tuned into the frequency of your next level. Here we're going to open new windows of perception. You'll understand why things aren't flowing the way you expected, and discover that this feeling of stagnation might actually be the beginning of your blooming. You'll see yourself in real stories, in analogies that speak to your heart, and maybe you'll start remembering what your soul already knew. So stay until the end, because you don't need another video to motivate you. You need a sign that confirms what you've already been feeling. And if you're seeing this right now, it's because that sign has just arrived. First sign, the invisible switch. Breakthroughs don't arrive, they reveal themselves. Have you ever noticed how certain moments don't happen from the outside in, but simply reveal themselves, as if they were always there, quietly waiting? Spiritual awakening is like that. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And when you finally hear it, it's not because it just arrived. It's because you became quiet enough to notice it was always present. It's like turning on a light. The dark room was never disconnected from electricity, but only when you flip the switch does the light appear. That switch isn't external, it's internal. It's the subtle moment when your energetic frequency shifts, and everything shifts with it. It's not about when things will get better. It's about the moment you stop vibrating as someone who waits, and begin to vibrate as someone who already is. Because in that instant, reality responds with mirrors, not rewards. It reflects who you've become, not what you asked for. The universe moves faster than our eyes can perceive. Sometimes it's already turned the page, but we're still reading the last paragraph. That's why the click is rarely obvious. It might show up on a regular Sunday, a simple conversation, or in that silence that used to ache, but now only breathes. There was a time when he went through this. No grand signs, no fireworks, just a strange week, full of delays and misalignments. He had no idea the universe was shifting the gears from within, and only later, looking back, did everything make sense. That unexpected no, it was protection. That person who pulled away. It was space being created. That pause. It was permission for the universe to rearrange the pieces. The manifestation wasn't coming. It had already begun. That's why you can't measure a quantum leap with your eyes. The shift starts before the change, before the money, before the answer. It begins in the body, in the energy of now. In that 1 second where you feel, without reason, that something has flipped. That's the power of vibrational alignment. When your inner story changes, the field responds. When you stop repeating, "It hasn't happened yet," and start vibrating as someone already living it, you become a magnet, not a beggar. And that takes courage, because no one teaches us to trust without evidence. But the deepest form of mental reprogramming is the one that replaces seeing is believing with feeling is receiving. And those who learn this change reality. It's not an exaggeration to say, many people are already living the miracle and haven't noticed yet. They're waiting for loud, undeniable signs, when in truth, the synchronicities are already in the details. The universe doesn't work through announcements, it works through coherence. And when your quantum awareness steps into that field, there's no turning back. You don't search for proof, you radiate presence, and this new identity shifts even the timing of things. In fact, have you started noticing anything different in your days? Second sign, the pause before the bloom. When everything slows down, that's when the roots are working hardest. Sometimes, everything feels like it's slowing down. Time seems suspended. Nothing happens on the outside. No news, no answers. And yet, in that silence, the magic begins. Because it's in the invisible that the roots grow deeper. A flower bud doesn't burst open all at once. Before blooming, it pauses, it closes in, it shrinks just to gather strength from the inside out. Manifestation works the same way. The pause phase is actually the phase of integration. Many people confuse stillness with failure. But the universe is a master of disguise. When it seems like nothing's happening, everything is actually being rearranged. Expansion of consciousness requires digestion. You know that unexplained tiredness, that desire to withdraw and go inward to stay quiet? That's not weakness. That's a seed sprouting. The spiritual body asks for space when it's being rewired. And that is one of the clearest signs from the universe. The need to pause. He's experienced it too. There was a time when everything stopped. Invitations disappeared, responses vanished. He thought he had done something wrong. But looking back now, he sees that was the most fertile time of his entire journey, because that's when he met his own truth. It's not the outer movement that reveals your new energetic frequency. It's the peace that blooms, even when everything looks still. It's the calm that grows, even without certainty. That's what a quantum leap looks like. That's inner transformation. It's when the human stops running and begins to receive. And the most curious part? After that pause, everything flows faster. Doors open without effort. The right people show up. Ideas land with clarity. It's like the field was just waiting for the body to rest before it could move. Inside that gap, there's something few people recognize. True manifestation happens in silence. It's when you let go, when you no longer need to prove anything. It's when you say, I don't know how, but I trust. And in that space, faith becomes frequency. Those who understand this stop sabotaging themselves. They stop trying to rush the harvest before the roots have taken hold, and they begin to honor the rhythm of the universe. Because they know the pause is not punishment, it's sacred preparation. So tell me, have you felt this pause lately? Maybe your flower is about to open, but on the outside it still looks like nothing is happening. Could it be that you're in one of those moments where the invisible is working for you? Third sign, the test of alignment. The universe tests not your worth, but your readiness. Have you ever noticed how right after you make a powerful request to the universe, everything seems to fall apart? You ask for peace, and someone shows up to test your patience. You ask for abundance, and your bills suddenly pile up. This isn't a coincidence. It's the field testing whether your vibration is ready to hold what you asked for. The universe doesn't ask if you want it. It asks if you're ready to become the one who receives it. That's why the tests don't measure your worth. They calibrate your energetic frequency. This is vibrational alignment taken seriously. Think of it like school. Before you graduate, there's always a final exam. It's not a punishment, it's a confirmation. And the same thing happens during a quantum leap. Reality challenges you to reveal who you're becoming. He saw this clearly in his own journey. There was a phase where everything seemed to go wrong, sincere intentions, clear desires, and yet nothing flowed. That's when he realized he wasn't being punished, he was being shaped. Because the universe responds to coherence, not just desire, you can ask for anything you want, but if at the first sign of pressure you shift back into fear, the field senses that it's not time yet. These tests are subtle. They're not always obvious. They poke at your most sensitive spots. Because that's where your expansion of consciousness happens. That's where the old pattern begins to unravel. And once you recognize that, you start handling challenges as refinement, not as attack. You learn to breathe, to witness, to respond with presence. You become the master of your own energy. And that is real manifestation. So it's like the universe saying, you want something big, then I need you to be big too. So it sends experiences that demand patience, strength, and faith. Not because you're weak, but because you're about to become unshakable. There's an exercise that can shift everything. When you feel tested, stop, close your eyes, and say to yourself, this challenge didn't come to delay me. It came to prepare me. Little by little, your energy stops reacting and starts leading. Have you noticed any patterns repeating in your life lately? Any situation that keeps coming back, just in a different form? Maybe it's not karma. Maybe it's the universe telling you, show me you've learned, and the next level will open. Fourth sign, the glimpse effect. The universe gives you previews before premieres. Have you ever had that feeling that something big was about to happen, without knowing exactly why? It's like the universe giving you little spoilers, fragments of what's coming next. These flashes aren't random. They're like trailers for a movie that's already finished behind the scenes. The quantum leap often begins with a brief scene, a strange coincidence, a repetitive synchronicity whispering, "You're on the right path." Sometimes it's a number that shows up everywhere. Other times it's a conversation with a stranger, saying exactly what your soul needed to hear. It might even be a song at the perfect moment, carrying the message your heart had been longing for. These signs from the universe are real and deeply intelligent. He's lived this before. Right before entering one of the most abundant phases of his life, he experienced a wave of unexpected meetings, spontaneous ideas, and a strange peace within. It was the vibrational field revealing itself, long before the physical world responded. When you receive a glimpse, it's not an invitation to chase, it's an invitation to align even deeper. Because the glimpse isn't a promise, it's vibrational confirmation. You're already on the frequency and you just need to stay there. It's like the universe saying, here's a glimpse, so you don't give up halfway through. But be careful, don't confuse the trailer with the full movie. Many people see the glimpse and fall into anxiety. They want to control, speed things up, force outcomes, and that disrupts the flow. The quantum field responds better to trust than to desperation. And that's what separates manifestation from attachment. The energy of now is your stage. It's where you act as if you've already received. When you're grateful for the glimpse, you show that you trust the finale. And that kind of embodied faith unlocks the next scene. The universe is like a brilliant director. The film is already shot. It's just waiting for you to match the lead actor's frequency. The glimpse is just one frame. The rest unfolds in coherence with your new self. Try paying attention today to the subtle signs, the repeated conversation, the returning feeling, that dream that felt just like a dream. Nothing is just anything. Everything is communication in the subtle realm. These signs aren't here to entertain you, they're here to prepare you. And once you understand that, you stop waiting for spectacular miracles and begin to witness the quiet ones. Can you recall a recent glimpse, something that seemed small, but deep down made you feel there's something bigger happening, and maybe, just maybe, that something is already closer than your mind can currently comprehend? Fifth sign, when loss is proof. The universe clears space before the new season. There comes a moment on the journey when everything seems to fall apart. People drift away, opportunities vanish, doors close without explanation, and it's at that point that many give up, believing they've lost something precious. But the truth is, it was the old timeline that lost you. The frequency changed, and when your vibration rises, anything out of resonance dissolves, not as punishment but as protection, not from lack, but from spiritual transition. He's felt this before. At the time, it hurt. It felt like being pulled out of a comfort zone by force. But what he didn't know was that this loss was the liberation he had asked for. The universe works in silence, and before a new season begins, it tidies up the house you can't plant in soil that's still full of dead roots. That's why sometimes it prunes, it cleans, it empties. Pruning hurts, but it's exactly what prepares the tree to bloom stronger. That's the process of true manifestation. The field needs space to bring in the new, and the new can only arrive when the old is respectfully released. Quantum consciousness understands this. It doesn't cling to form, it anchors in essence because it knows that what's true is never lost. It only transforms to vibrate higher. Maybe you're feeling that emptiness right now. Maybe it seems like something important has been ripped away. But what if that empty space is actually being prepared for something your mind can't yet imagine? What if the universe is saying, you've grown and you've outgrown this pot? Remember, every butterfly must leave the cocoon. But to do that, the cocoon has to break, and that breaking feels like destruction until it reveals itself as birth. He recalls a time when he lost a friendship he thought would last forever. It hurt, but months later he understood. That bond was draining his light. The distance was the answer to a prayer he didn't even know he'd made. The quantum leap happens in the spaces between. And when you lose something, ask yourself, was this aligning me or distracting me? Was it feeding my purpose or just filling my fear of being alone? The expansion of consciousness teaches you to see the invisible behind the apparent. You start to thank the pain, not because you enjoy it, but because you trust that it's shaping you. Every loss, every ending, every goodbye is a message from the field. Something greater is coming. It's not about romanticizing pain, it's about giving it meaning. When you do that, suffering loses its power to imprison you, and mental reprogramming happens naturally. You stop vibrating as a victim and start vibrating as a creator. Think now about something that has left your life recently. Maybe it was someone, a plan, a place. Could it be that this was simply the universe removing invisible obstacles? Could it be that this ending was actually a realignment for your next level? Maybe your new season has already begun. Sixth sign, the rebellion of the old self. Your old patterns will fight for their life when the new you arrives. There's a delicate moment on the journey of spiritual awakening. It's not when everything is falling apart. It's when everything is beginning to change, because that's when the old self panics. It feels like it's losing control, and it reacts. You start making more conscious choices. You begin saying no to what you used to accept out of lack, and suddenly anxiety rises, fear shows up, the body gets tired. It feels like sabotage, but it's just the natural resistance to transformation. Mental reprogramming shakes very deep structures, and the old self, the one who survived for so long, doesn't want to be replaced easily. It will use every tactic to pull you back to the familiar, even if that familiar is suffocating you. Here it's like living in a dark house for years. When someone opens the windows and light comes in, the dust in the air seems worse. But the truth is, it was always there. You just couldn't see it. A quantum leap isn't comfortable at first, because it demands symbolic death. The old pattern has to die for the new one to take root. And yes, that process is challenging, but it's also liberating. He went through this intensely. When he started changing his habits, he felt an unexplained sadness. It was as if he were betraying the old version of himself, but in truth, he was simply being reborn. Those symptoms, fatigue, anger, apathy, doubt, aren't signs of failure. They're the final screams of an internal system being shut down. And this is practical spirituality, to observe without identifying. There's a powerful metaphor for this. Imagine an old tenant who doesn't want to leave the house. You announce that you're changing the decor, the energy, the purpose of the space, and he throws a tantrum, because deep down, he knows he doesn't belong there anymore. But you don't have to fight him. You just have to hold firm in your decision to change. Take a deep breath, stay present, and repeat inwardly, "This resistance is proof that I'm transforming." That simple gesture shifts the frequency. The expansion of consciousness requires this loving firmness. You acknowledge the fear, but you don't feed it. You welcome the discomfort, but don't quit because of it. That posture is the beginning of true manifestation, because it reveals energetic maturity. The universe responds to vibrational consistency, not perfectionism. It's normal to have relapses, doubts, instability. What matters is not clinging to them as truth. They're just echoes of what's leaving. He remembers one specific day when he almost gave up on a major spiritual decision. He was afraid, and everything seemed to be going wrong. But something inside him whispered, "You're at the threshold. Don't turn back now." And he stayed. He breathed. He got quiet. He trusted. The following week, everything began to flow with ease. The energy shifted. Peace returned. The new self was taking root. When you cross that threshold, the body adjusts, the mind calms, and you begin to realize the inner struggle only existed because the new had already arrived, and the old was simply reacting to its own extinction. If you're at that point now, honor the discomfort as a sign of rebirth. Don't fight it. Breathe with it. The old you may be screaming loudly, but the new you is already vibrating in silence. Seventh sign, signs of the new frequency. When your desires start feeling familiar, you've already shifted. There's a subtle moment in the manifestation journey when something shifts inside before anything shifts outside. You can't quite explain what it is, but you begin to feel as if what you've always wanted is already here. The anxiety that followed you for years fades away. Attachment dissolves, and even without seeing external results, you feel a peace that wasn't part of your routine before. That's one of the first signs of the new frequency. It's like your soul received a silent spoiler. Nothing outside changed, but everything inside did. You're no longer chasing, you're holding, and spiritually speaking, that is massive. The quantum leap doesn't happen when you get something. It happens when you become someone. The version that already vibrates what you used to long for. And that's why the world around starts to look different. Even if everything seems the same, your perception has changed. He realized this one morning upon waking up. Before even checking his phone, he felt peace. No reason, no recent achievement, just an inner certainty. I'm already where I need to be. That feeling isn't passivity, it's presence. It's when the expansion of consciousness reaches the body, and everything starts aligning naturally. You stop forcing and start flowing. A great example is the radio. When you're off frequency, the sound is distorted, full of static, but suddenly you turn the dial and everything tunes in. The music was always in the air, you just weren't tuned in. Likewise, your manifestation was already available. What changed was your ability to receive it, and that reflects in your reactions. Situations that used to shake you deeply now only spark neutral observation. People who once hurt you now feel far from your reality. Repetitive thoughts lose the power they once had. These are signs that the new frequency has settled in. You begin to experience small daily coincidences. Doors open effortlessly. The right conversations happen at the perfect moment. Even your body responds differently. Lighter, more present. Everything starts working in your favor. He experienced this after months of resistance, when he finally stopped chasing and decided to just breathe, trust, and follow his intuition. Within days, opportunities he hadn't even imagined began to appear. It was the field responding to his new version. When you change internally, the universe rewrites the script. And it doesn't happen with noise, it's subtle, almost imperceptible, but deeply transformative. Life stops being a search and becomes an expression. The new frequency also shows up in your language. You stop saying someday and start saying soon. You swap I want for I am. And the field reads that vibrational shift as a command, because it responds to who you are, not what you want. The most powerful mental reprogramming is silent. It happens behind the scenes of the mind, in the moments when you choose to act differently, even when no one sees it. That's where the shift becomes solid. Have you noticed this kind of inner change? Have you caught yourself responding with more calm, more presence, more trust in situations that used to throw you off balance? Maybe you've already changed frequencies, and now you're simply hearing the right music. Eighth sign, the mirror principle. The universe doesn't give you what you want, it mirrors who you've become. This may be one of the most misunderstood laws in spirituality. People ask, declare, affirm, yet they keep receiving the opposite, and they think the universe isn't listening, when in fact, it's responding perfectly. The universe doesn't deliver desires. It reflects identities. It doesn't matter what you say with your mouth, but what silently vibrates from your soul, and that changes the entire logic of manifestation. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is defined by what you effortlessly believe, by what you accept as normal, by what you repeat when no one is watching. This is the essence of the cosmic mirror. It doesn't judge, it doesn't punish, it simply reflects back what you sustain as your energetic pattern, whether it's conscious or unconscious. He remembers when he learned this the hard way. He was affirming abundance but vibrating scarcity, asking for love but fearing rejection, and the result? A repetitive cycle of frustration. Only when he started changing his inner narrative did the world around him begin to respond differently. No grand ceremonies, no spectacular magic, just new reflections appearing from a new posture. This is the key to mental reprogramming. It's not about convincing the universe. It's about becoming energetically someone who aligns with what they desire. And that begins with a simple question. What do I believe is truly possible for me? You can fake words, but you can't fake vibration. The new frequency settles in when your internal story changes. When I can't becomes this is inevitable for me. When fear gives way to familiarity with the new. The spiritual mirror doesn't show you what you want to see. It shows you what you need to see to transform. That's why the first reflections might hurt, but they reveal where your energy is still misaligned and where you need to realign for real. Picture a foggy mirror. You look into it and the image seems wrong, but it's not your face that's distorted. It's the glass that's dirty. Cleaning the mirror is the inner work. The right reflection is already there, waiting for clarity. The quantum leap happens when you stop trying to change the reflection and begin changing the root. You tend to the vibration, the emotion, the intention, and the universe takes care of the form. That's true co-creation. The expansion of consciousness brings a deep realization. Everything is a relationship. You relate to money, to time, to love, as someone who believes they deserve it, or as someone who fears losing it. That relationship defines the reflection. He noticed this when he changed how he spoke to his own body. He stopped criticizing, demanding, devaluing, and in no time his health improved, his energy returned, lightness settled in. The body responded to the new treatment, just as the universe also responds. So the question remains, what have you been telling yourself lately? What story do you repeat when you're in silence? Because that silent narrative is what the field vibrates right back to you. Ninth sign, the confirmation moment. You stop asking when and start saying thank you. There's a moment, almost imperceptible, when everything changes, even if nothing has changed yet. It's not when the money comes in, nor when the answer arrives. It's when you feel peace, even without evidence. That is the true moment of confirmation, the moment when your soul already knows, and because of that your body relaxes, doubt fades, the when disappears, and all that remains is silent gratitude. He's felt it before. After years of searching, asking, trying to force, there came a day when he simply felt it already happened, even though the world around him still said otherwise. That kind of faith can't be taught. It's awakened, and it reveals itself when the new frequency settles into your field, when you're no longer waiting for a miracle because you realize the miracle is you. It's like the artist who, before finishing the painting, already sees the full image in their mind. Each brushstroke is just confirmation of what already exists inside. The outer reality becomes a translation of the inner vision, and the universe responds to that clarity. The final quantum leap doesn't come with noise. It comes with a sigh. A deep relief, like something you didn't even know you were carrying has been quietly released. It's at that point that the field begins to manifest with ease. Vibrational alignment becomes natural. You don't need to repeat affirmations 20 times. You don't need to chase signs desperately. You live as someone who already has, as someone simply waiting for the bud to become the flower. And the most beautiful part, everything starts happening faster. But now you're no longer desperate for results. You enjoy the process. You trust the unseen because it's already familiar. This is consciousness expansion in motion. You begin to give thanks before you see. You wake up with a smile before the good news arrives. You celebrate the now, not as rehearsal, but as proof that the new has already arrived. He remembers a time when everything felt confusing, but in the middle of the chaos he felt something different in his chest, as if something whispered, "It is done." And sure enough, weeks later, reality flipped upside down. But the shift had already happened inside. Manifestation responds to your posture, not your worthiness. The universe doesn't give rewards. It answers consolidated frequencies. That's why the moment you give thanks in advance is the exact moment everything begins to change. Think now of something you deeply desire. Could you thank for it as if it were already yours? Not as a strategy, but with emotional conviction. That is the test of integrated faith. The most transformative mental reprogramming doesn't come from scattered affirmations. It comes from daily posture, from how you treat the now, from how you behave when no one is watching. Gratitude in advance isn't blind optimism. It's a kind of spiritual intelligence. It's the most elegant language the universe understands. When you say thank you with your heart, the field responds with surprising speed. You can begin right now. Take a deep breath. Think of something you desire and say, thank you for this already being real. Notice how your body responds. Maybe it knows something your mind doesn't yet. Now that all of this has been revealed, take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a moment and feel in your body. Which part of this message touched you the deepest? What insight became a turning point? What pattern do you now see no longer represents you? And what are you still waiting to happen, when in truth it already started within? Could it be that you're still asking for what has already been granted? This video wasn't just content. It was a mirror, a reminder, a vibrational field created to confirm what deep down you already know. The breakthrough already happened. So tell me in the comments, what was the most powerful moment for you? Which phrase are you going to stick on your mirror as a reminder of who you are becoming? And what micro-action will you take in the next 24 hours to show the universe that you understood the sign? Your sharing might be exactly the nudge another soul needs to awaken. This space is sacred, and your vibration can activate someone else's. Let's keep this field alive, of people who don't just listen, but become. If this video sparked something in you, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Because here we don't just talk about manifestation, we talk about alignment with the unseen. And in the next video, I'll show you how your new frequency creates reality, effortlessly.